Good evening, everybody. Thank you. We start off tonight with a bit of very sad news. As most of you probably know by now, we learned of the death of Rob Brown earlier this week. And Rob was a long-serving club member. He was a regular down at the track and here, or at the clubhouse on Wednesdays. He was our membership secretary, and he was a pretty good masters athlete. So what I'd like to do is just like to ask Steve, who's known him practically the whole of both their lives, to say a few words about him. Thanks, Steve.
Right. Forgive me, this is going to sound a bit like the we rather than the him, because I think we've been so close so long, and sort of by a sort of osmosis, or whatever the word is, we tended to just start doing the same things at the same time in life without talking to each other. We met on the first day of infant school, and then we ended up going to this infant school, junior school, secondary school. He went to work for a bank. I didn't work for a bank, but then I ended up doing a job in a bank, and then we carried on our friendship. And we both joined the club in 1990. And we both, again, totally independent, without talking to each other, we suddenly both started running. I mean, Rob was always very sporty at school. I think he won the sport and games prize in primary school, and I got one for arithmetic, but not quite as exciting. But then, we were probably in our late 30s, and we'd been out for a run on a Sunday morning. We bumped into, I think, Peter Long and Alan Mothersall. I'm sure people here will remember at least one of those. And we heard about Blackheath Harriers, and we came down, and Rob rather inconveniently broke his arm, so he hasn't had quite so many months service in as I have, because he delayed joining. So, and then throughout sort of our glory days of the 90s, because we, like most other members, took advantage of the scheme there to be able to get a guaranteed entry to the London Marathon, and we did our bit, and we trained hard for that first marathon together. It's in 1993, I think. And again, without sort of really trying, we managed to run the whole race absolutely together. And it wasn't a case of, I lagged and he kept me going, and he lagged and I kept him going. We just did it, and we ended up in about 3 hours 11, which was sort of an okay time by 1980-90 standards. It might even raise a slight eyebrow if you did it now, but that in those times it was a respectable time. And then we went on, and we seemed to always be, you could never predict who was going to win. If it was a mob match or a club 10k or something, you could almost bet even money on Rob winning or me winning. But it did all change, because Rob discovered the world of sprinting, and he trained hard, and that's when he started leaving me behind at all distances. So he was a prominent member of the Masters team, and he broke a few club records. I'm sure his name is still in the book for a few club records. He became a VP and took on the difficult task of membership secretary. He has never applied for Mastermind, but if he had, and he chose the specialist subject of England athletic rules, he would have sailed through, because if ever we had a problem, and we do have problems, and England athletics aren't the greatest of people to deal with, Rob was always on it. So that will be a very tough role to fulfil, and we've got someone, as you know, Paul Shaw, with Steve Pearman there to help now and then. His parkrun times hardly seem to lengthen with age either, and he was regularly going round. I think he'd just been diagnosed with cancer of the esophagus, and he said, "Oh dear, the other week, Littlehampton, 23 minutes, terrible, 23 minutes at the age of 70 is pretty good going." He then sort of had a second running life by joining the Zero to Heroes group. And he quickly became a very popular leader and an inspiration. And bear witness to that. You know, there's a Zero to Heroes Facebook page, as there are for virtually every group these days. And just listing the number of people. And it was not what a great fellow he was, but how he inspired me in this way and that way. So he's inspired a lot of people and done a great deal of things like that. We organised many club quizzes. He was always, you know, the level-headed one. I'm very diplomatic about my dodgy music rounds, but anyway, you might have to... I'm not doing the music round at the next quiz. We are having a quiz, I think, in the next month or so. But Rob and his wife, Brenda, they moved to the South Coast about 3 years ago, and he soon found a new running club called the Areners. And the problem with the Areners was that virtually all their evening runs were over the South Downs, you know, serious hills. But he seemed to do that, and even while he was having treatment, he's still going out and saying, oh, well, I managed to run for 1 mile, but then I had to walk a bit before I did the next mile, etc. So by normal standards, it was fantastic. So he's a thoroughly nice bloke, a great clubman, a mentor and servant to the club. He's sorely missed, I'm sure, by virtually everyone here, and particularly by me. You know, I'm sure there are other things I'll think about the next few days I could have said about Rob. But as you know, he died on Monday. He eventually was diagnosed with a brain tumour, and from diagnosis to his passing was nearly a month, you know. So it was tough on Brenda, and I'm in contact with her, been going down a couple of times, and I will continue to keep in contact and pass on everyone's good wishes. Thanks.
Before we have a moment's silence, Steve made reference to what the work Rob did with Zero to Heroes. And I'd just like to read out, this was something one of the ladies of that group posted on Facebook. A sad, sad day. A great man. A lovely leader and an amazing runner. Robert Brown died yesterday on his birthday. One of my running club, he moved to the coast a few years ago, and we did a coach trip to his local park run at Littlehampton to celebrate his 250th park run. He ran around between 21 and 22 minutes in the 70 to 74 age category. He was great. I really missed him when he left. I often enjoyed his FST, fitness and stamina training group, and will always remember Teletubby Mound in Norman Park. He taught me how to run down a hill, up a hill, and how to move my arms properly. The 4-hill challenge and his lampposts. Encouraging me to run my best time mile too. He ran great quiz nights with his best friend, another runner, Stephen Hollingdale, whom he knew from school. He organised the Naked Run. I'll tell you more about that later. He won many age category awards and just generally was lovely. I could go on. R.I.P. Rob. I still have your R embroidered hanky you gave me when I couldn't stop crying when you left. I shall need to get it out again. So that's very touching. So I wonder if I could ask you just to stand for a few moments of quiet reflection. Thanks very much. When we know funeral or other arrangements, we'll let you know, and I'm sure we'll find some other way to celebrate Rob's life as well. Right, so back to the athletics, the rest of the news. This last weekend, we had the first National Athletics League match for the seniors at Sports City Manchester. The results are somewhat provisional, I've been advised, due to a new wonderful computer system. Is that right, Pat? Something like that. But on the provisional results, it looks as if we won, which is a fantastic achievement. Anyway, some notable performances. We've got a 19-year-old, Jeriel Kwainu, who tied for first place in the 100 metres with an amazing time of 10.48 seconds, which is pretty good for a 19-year-old. And later went on to win the 200 metres in 21:37. We had a great win for Angus Harrington in the 1500 metres, and Harry Cox won the B string. And those two, they did it 3 minutes 57, and there was a half a second difference between the winning times of the A and the B strings. Scott Overall, who's come back to running from us after England international experiences. You remember he ran the fastest leg in the British Masters Road Relays a couple of weeks ago. He carried on his great form. He won the 5,000 metres. In the field, Kelechi Agucha was coming back to form, and he won the men's high jump with 2 metres 14. And there were B-string wins for Theo Adesina in the long jump and Thomas Sugden in the 3,000 metres steeplechase. Other notable performances are 52.39 second 400 metres hurdles from Bailey Stickins. Barnaby Corrie was 4 metres 30 with the pole vault for third. Ben Sutton 6.67 for the long jump, and a 14.67 triple jump for Toby Dronfield. Now, the placings that I've mentioned there may be provisional because of this problem with the scoring system. In the women's match, if you remember, was it last week we talked about Fleur Todd-Warmouth, who'd broken the 3,000 metre club records right the way up through the age groups. She carried on her great form. She won the 1,500 metres. Morgan Squibb won the 2,000 metre steeplechase, and there was a B-string win for Sophie Ellis in the 400 metres hurdles and Jade Oney in the triple jump. Louise Evans was back running both 100 and 200 metres sprints for second place in both, and the ladies took third place in the relays. So when I say the provisional results, if we won that would be absolutely fantastic. They're tough matches to win, those national leagues. So thanks to the athletes, coaches and the team managers, Nee Britson-Hubbard and Rod Harrington, plus Nick Corrie, who stood in for Rod on the day. So that was the National Athletics League. Further south on Sunday, I guess it was, we had the YDL, the lower age group. This is the under 15s and the under 13s. And there were some great performances all round. Standout performances: Rio McCausland won the 100 metres in 11.6 seconds, which was a personal best by nearly half a second, and that ranks him 4th in the UK for his age group, and is an AAA Grade 1. Now, these gradings they give the athletes are based on how they stand relative to the general population. So a Grade 1 means that you're within the top 7.5% of performers in the country, so it's pretty good. And Rayan Rennie was first in the 300 metres, and that was also a Grade 1 performance. Charlie Platt won the pole vault with 3 metres 50, which was a personal best by 15 centimetres. He's already ranked second in the UK for his age group, and we had wins in both relays. On the girls under 15, Shizam Boniface won the 100 metres and the long jump. Alicia Furler was second in the 300 metres, first in the B high jump, and helped the team to second place in the 4x300 metre relay. Notice here these athletes all taking part in different events, helping the team out. Megan Barlow, first in the high jump, first in the 800 metres, and I think she was first in the 300 metre B string, and again was part of the 4x300 metre relay team. Erin Simpson was first in the discus and second in the javelin. So the boys under 13, notable performances there. Nicholas Marquez was first for the B, 75 metres. Harry Collins Smith was first for the 1200 metres, and Jake Martin was first in the B 1200 metres. On the girls' side, Cara Bryan was first in the 800 metres, and Sophie Tran was first for the B string for that, and Cara was also first in the 150 metre B string. So thanks again to all the team managers and officials there. Now, on Monday we had the Kent Masters, but I couldn't find any results for that. Maz, is there anything?
Yeah, I did do a little bit there.
No, I haven't got it.
Sorry. So actually draft results still, and the names are all for our teams. As it stands at the moment, unofficially, the men came third out of 6, with only 2 points between them and Tunbridge, who were first. And women, sadly, we were very depleted because of injuries, so we only had 5 women performing. But so we came 5th, but there's plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
Okay, so they're great results for those that ran, and let's make a note. Let's try and get some more masters out for these. They're evening meetings usually, aren't they?
Evenings, and there's 3 more left. Friday evenings,
Yeah.
17th of June, 15th of July, and 29th of July.
Okay,
And we also need officials. I think Rob Hubbard's
dressing up
there
then.
as well to get officials.
Okay, thanks, Maz. Another event on at the weekend was the British Pentathlon Championships at Oxford, and we had 4 competitors there. Alex Pope unfortunately pulled a muscle, so he didn't complete. Ian Furlow had 4 personal bests out of 5 events. That's not bad going. He came 4th in his age group, but the plaudits go to Blair Wilson and Clem Leon, who were silver in their respective age groups. So good performance from Blackheath and Bromley there. On the road we had, was it on the road? Darrant Valley? It wasn't, was it? It's cross country, wasn't it? No, nobody here ran it. It was we had Martin Richardson was 3rd and Steve Howe was 9th, but I think they were the only 2 club runners running it, which was a bit disappointing because I think Orpington and Pettswood had nearly 50 each, so we need to try and rustle up a bit more participation. And so maybe people who are interested can put notes in their diary for the Chislehurst Half Marathon, which is this Sunday, and then there's the Bromley Midsummer 10K, which is really a similar course to the Ted Pepper Norman Park. That's the 22nd of June. So moving then from the sublime to the ridiculous, Nick Kinsey was first in his age group in the Ironman in Mallorca at the weekend, and I think that means he'll get an option to attend the World Championship. So he's still going strong. Okay, so we'll finish up the athletics with our weekly mention of Park Run. We had 14 runners at 16 different locations. 3 firsts, Katie Murray at Bromley, Alessio Tutt at Orpington, and Robert Perry at Mura di Luca. Now, Mura di Luca, for those of you who understand my fluent Italian, is the walls of Lucca. And I don't know if you know, Lucca is a town just outside Pisa in northern Italy, and it's a walled town, and the park run is actually 1 lap round the outside of the walls. I would imagine it's a fantastic park run. So Robert wins he won the race. He wins the prize for being the furthest away from home. And I think it must have been a father and son effort, because there was an Adrian Perry who's also a club member, who was 11th in the 60 to 64 age category. So well done them. Second places, we have Kyla Dervish at Orpington. Kyla's just 13 years old, so she did 23 minutes 18 seconds. That's pretty good. And Jessica Keane at Tooting. Have an honourable mention for Clayton, who just missed the podium, 4th at Bromley. Another good time. He's running. Well done, Clayton. I went to Shawn Woods, which is a 3-lap woodland course near Gravesend, with a very good cafe. We were there to celebrate the 250th park run of a grandfather and grandson team, club members Dick and Heath Griffin. So well done to them. Heath is only 13 years old, and he's one of the youngest people ever to do 250 park runs, whereas Dick John Isaacs ran down there, and of course he managed to take another over 80s age group record in 29:33. It's John's birthday today. He's not here, so when he comes back next week we'll make him regret it. So that's most of the news as I have it. Forthcoming events. Next Wednesday is the Beckenham Relays, isn't it? We've got Dave Beadle was organising teams for that. Anybody here running there? Yeah? Have we got 4 or 5 teams in, Steve? Do you know?
At least, yes.
At least, okay. Well, you're very welcome to come back here afterwards. But otherwise, good luck to...
Vacancy as well.
Yeah, otherwise good luck to all the folk running that. Before I close, I just mentioned, I bumped into Brendan McShane the other day as I was coming out of church, and he was on his way to the George in Hayes to meet up with Nick Gaston and some of his other contemporaries. So these are some names that people will know, but obviously runners who are, fortunately due to injury mainly, are no longer running, but they wanted to be remembered to you. So it was nice to see him. Bonus ball for last week. Oh, no. Put that down there. Dennis Laurie. Spitting blood here. Right, is there any other news? Anybody up there? Paul?
Just to say that we've got the Kent County Track and Field Champs at Medway Park
This weekend.
Yeah. And we've got 117 athletes competing.
Oh my goodness.
So there'll probably be a lot of news for you to...
Is there anybody else competing? Okay. Anything else? Okay, in that case, good evening.